Welcome into Rounding the Bases.
Round the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg. It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rounding the Bases presented by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. Shout out as always to my friends at Chief of Staff here in Kansas City. It doesn't really matter whether you are in Kansas City, the Midwest, around the country. If you are looking to hire someone, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a resource, just check them out. They're great people. I love working with them on a regular basis. chiefofstaffkc.com, making connections that matter. My connection today comes via Boston. When I was in Boston last baseball season, went to a great lunch and got to meet a lot of really awesome, successful people in Boston, in the business world and beyond. And my guest today was one of those, and really just found her very interesting in the limited time that we spent together. And now I'm excited to dive deeper today. On today's installment of Rounding the Bases, I'm joined by a trailblazer of the digital frontier who has built a career pushing the boundaries of what is possible. Her name is Dr. Charlotte de Brabandt, a high-flying speaker and true cosmopolitan who curated her own success to become one of modern technology's most influential voices. With a passion for revolutionizing the way we work, connect, and grow, she doesn't just talk about transformation, she lives it, empowering generations to thrive in the powerful new world where the future is already here. If that sounds like we're about to talk about AI and technology, that's certainly part of it, and we'll see where else this goes, as I'm happy right now to be joined by Charlotte, who is in Boston, but you'll hear very quickly, it's not a Boston accent. There are some roots that go far beyond Boston overseas. Charlotte, how are you?
Joe, thank you for having me. Such a great pleasure to be here and to thrive and inspire our next generation of talents out there. I'm very excited to be here on the podcast with you.
You have such a great energy. Sorry to cut you off, but I before we go further, tell everybody where that accent comes from, because if they're having a hard time figuring it out, you can't just pin it down to one country, I don't think.
No, not at all. So I've been in Boston for 3 years, but to be honest, originally I'm from Switzerland. I grew up in the French part of Switzerland, climbing these beautiful alpine mountains, going to school, and then lived in the German part of Switzerland. But to make it more complicated, my mom is Swedish, dad is Belgium, and I lived in Asia before. So it's a lot of different dialects coming into my accent.
So we got some Swedish, we got some Belgian, we got some Swiss in there, we got German, we got French, and we got the piece of living in the United States in Boston, speaking English as one of your many languages. I guess that's the best way to put it, right?
Absolutely, as long as you understand me.
Yeah, of course. Oh, you're easy to understand, and your energy. You got the big personality. I was sitting there telling you before we came on about all the things that I'm working on in terms of AI right now. Such a tiny little thing, just my involvement, but it is life changing. And everybody, you can't go anywhere right now, I feel like, without hearing someone mention ChatGPT or something AI. It almost feels like we're replacing Google and the internet websites as we knew them, which, growing up, I didn't know them because they didn't exist. This is moving fast. To me, it's one of the biggest stories of 2025 now in 2026. I don't know where this is going. So you're much more the expert. I want to get into your background and how you got here in a bit, but is this moving as fast as I think it is?
It's moving even faster. It's I would say the era of AI, of course, it started not too long ago, but when generative AI, OpenAI, really launched ChatGPT, or the competitor Claude AI came out, or a variety of other options, or Gemini from Google, everyone is working on their own assistants. And I think 1 year ago, we had that big announcement of ChatGPT, for example, and 1 year later, just look where we are at. Now everybody is talking about involving AI agents into generative AI. Everyone's talking about these agentic AI, these agents, and agents have now come into the next phase. They are there to manage all these tasks end to end, booking trips, negotiating contracts. You were talking about running a business, and then you have all these agents now stepping in as these M1 decision makers. So it's absolutely incredible how far and how fast we have come, and this whole general intelligence. It's just revolutionizing how we are doing our work, how we are using all these AI functionalities to make our work more efficient, and it's happening at a very fast speed. So you need to be on top of it.
With that said, I think that people are scared too, because it's moving so fast, as you said, and I'm in on all of this. But I also want to make sure that for me and for anyone that we don't lose our authenticity, we don't lose our voice. So how do we balance staying up with the times, but not losing who we are?
Of course, automation is going to replace routines, is going to replace a lot of jobs, and we need to stay creative. And people worry constantly about unemployment, wage pressures. Entire industries are being disrupted. I mean, we see it also in the automotive industry, which was heavy in Europe, but it's all being replaced now by the Chinese competitors. So because of this loss of control, and AI is getting a lot more smarter and a lot more faster to make decisions without having full human oversight. And the big fear is there in all sorts of industries. The struggle is there. So how do we stay on top of it? We need to try and find creative ways how we can upskill ourselves, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything we need right now to stay on top. The ones that don't upskill, that are not curious, they will be left behind, because it's so important to try and ride that AI wave, to understand what is happening. And it's up to everyone's own decision to make a choice. Am I going to ride the wave with AI or not? Because everyone goes about change differently. But the fear is clearly there.
I think it's one of the most fascinating developments of our lifetime, just as it was when the internet became big, and we could give plenty of other examples, but I don't know that I've seen anything in my life that has moved this fast. Maybe I'm forgetting something. I don't know.
Absolutely, and that's why it's so important to overcome this fear of AI. I think it's very much about educating yourself, but then getting some experience, maybe going ahead and trying out ChatGPT, Claude AI. They are all for free, more or less, for users to experience, to use, and start to trust into these technologies. Because this is a way how we can then try and leverage all these useful tools, how they can benefit you. And understanding how AI works will then reduce the anxiety that people have, and all the fear.
And for me at least, Charlotte, and tell me if you agree or disagree, like my AI's fingerprints, so to speak, are on a lot of what I do, but it's not 100% what I do, meaning that if I want help, to me, the exercise is making sure that I never lose my ability to think. And there's a temptation to let it do everything for you. It's going to do so much for you quicker, but if I'm just pushing a button and letting it happen, well, I want it to do that for the things I'm not good at, but for the things that I'm good at, I don't want to lose those abilities. For me, writing, thinking, critically thinking, I'm not just going to say, hey, create a speech for me. Okay, boom, done. No, I'm going to create the speech, but I want it to help me make it better. I want it to help me think more clearly.
So
I'm wondering if you could speak about that, because I think that for me, the fear, and it's a healthy fear for me, is making sure that I stay sharp and that I become sharper because of it, not less because of it. How much do you agree with that?
this is so important what you're saying. And I'm constantly thinking, how can I stay intelligent? How can I continuously stay sharp? How can you remain in control, that you don't lose all that muscle that you've developed over all these years?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you need to start using AI as a thinking partner, not as a replacement. And there are some ways how you can just remain, how you can control to make sure that you enhance your mind. So important, number one, is stay in the driver's seat. Treat AI just like a tool, not your brain. So you need to decide what are the goals that you would like to set yourself, what is the contents, and what is the final decision that you would like to get out of it. For example, in my field, business transformation, digital transformation, I work in the field of supply chain management. AI, it can suggest to me which partners, which vendors I would like to work with. Or in terms of data, what data should I be analyzing? But you decide on the strategies and on the relationships that you would like to engage in. But always remember to re-ask all these AI outputs that you're getting. Does it make sense? What assumption is it making? What kind of data is behind their suggestion? And often, while you then rethink and ask the AI if it makes sense and use some critical thinking, then you see how AI is not completely perfect. It may give you suggestions, but you need to read, and you cannot just copy and paste it. And that's where your brain will develop a new muscle, I think, of critical thinking more than ever, re-questioning, trying to find these loopholes, these gaps. And I have a few other suggestions. I don't want to bore the listeners, but
you're not boring. I can listen to this all day long, because I'm sitting there saying, okay, I need to do this. I need to do this.
Exactly.
I need to do this. And anyone can do a little bit of this or a lot of this. What are your other suggestions? We'll go wherever we go.
Set your boundaries. Decide which tasks AI can do and which can then be replaced by human insights. So, for example, if you let AI summarize a report, let's say, who are the listeners? From which state are you getting the most listeners tuned in? So you need to understand, you need to analyze and then craft the message wisely to the AI for it to make the analysis. So set the boundaries and use AI to expand your thinking and really not replacing it. So treat AI as a brain amplifier, if you want to call it, not a brain replacement. I always tell that to my team. Use it to understand patterns, simulate scenarios, but just don't outsource your judgment. You must keep control of it and keep learning, upskilling yourself, practicing the skill sets. I've just published a book that I wrote on AI business transformation and really understanding what are all these different AI models that we have going on and how it's affecting industry. So it's important more than ever to understand your field, learn, and knowledge is king, right? It's most important to understand what are you dealing with this big AI giant. And so I think in short, control your boundaries with AI, constant questioning, and seeing AI as a helper and not a decision maker or thinker. So these three things.
Okay. Before I get into, there's so many things I want to ask you about. Before I get into, I'll tease it this way, a keynote that you did with someone, or shall I say something, named Sophia. I want to set up the table here for how you got to where you're at now. I don't mean Boston, but that in itself is a story. But I know I'm picturing a young girl growing up in Europe, skiing the French Alps, the beautiful mountains out there. And now, all of these years later, TED Talk on stage in the States. There's a lot in between there. How did you go down this path?
Well, let's put it this way. Throughout my career, I've always been very curious. And this curiosity has taken me so far that I took holidays from my job to attend conferences like the Web Summit or all these tech conferences, Ascend. And I always try to get some sort of student pass or they have all these tickets so I could really leverage all the conferences. And through this curiosity, I wanted to learn more and more and also deliver to my community all the good that I learn and get to be inspired to inspire and to inspire others. And this has always been my slogan. So what happened, I was at the Web Summit and I met the creator of Sophia the robot from Hanson Robotics. And through that incredible interaction, I then managed to not only be on stage with Sophia in New York City, but also I was able to give TED Talks and talk about how humanoid robots will affect industry, how humanoid robots will affect our lives. And through my whole interest in leveraging technologies, in understanding all these innovative systems that we have going on, I also managed to leverage that knowledge and bring it to my company. And at that time, just because of creativity and openness and trying to leverage what I learn into my daily job as being in the field of procurement supply chain management, I then also won back in 2017 the very first 30 under 30 megawatt award in European history as the best negotiator of the year. And that, I would say, Joe, that was really the stepping stone, how I then made it to the United States when my boss 6 weeks later said, Charlotte, you did such a great negotiating in a 3-year contract, 1/3 of, so from $1 billion, just like a third savings. And that just went all over the press. So 6 weeks later, I ended up in New York. And they say, you know, once you're in the US, you have unlimited opportunities. What your mind can perceive, it can achieve. So I made myself this list of all the good I wanted to achieve while being in the US, being on stage with Sophia, meeting some of my thought leaders, some of my virtual mentors that I've been following, tracking at that time, and meeting them in person and getting inspired from them and really being a sponge. And that sponge helped me then to go out and beyond. I started my YouTube channel. I wrote 8 books in a variety of topics, from leadership, negotiations, and AI and technology, to being really a public speaker. And in parallel, working full time.
All right, let me wrap up this thought before I move on with this. And you could see the link is on her website, and it takes you to a YouTube page. Charlotte's website, will have it in the show notes, so you get all the correct spelling and go to the right website. But you'll see Sophia in there, Sophia the robot. So, I mean, I've met a lot of really great speakers. What was it like meeting Sophia and sharing a stage with a robot?
Well, I have to say it was absolutely incredible, because I got to share the stage with her right after she sang a song live on TV with Jimmy Fallon. And I would say hearing her speak and interacting with her in such a humanoid way, asking her questions that she was able then to answer. And, you know, she's not just a robot. I mean, she is the first robot who owns her own credit card. And she also has a passport from Saudi Arabia, so she can travel in and out. And she is an example of what the future could behold. Of course, we will see a lot more robot inventions coming out now through our AI accessibility, and there are a lot of constant improvements happening. But back then, 2018, sharing the stage of Sophia and her telling me what the future of AI will behold, I don't think she even knew what it was possible right now and what era we are in right now. If she would only know that now everything is, generative AI, agentic AI is happening. It wasn't even the part of the discussion back then.
I could play a clip right here, but just encourage everybody, go to our show notes, go to Charlotte's website, and just take a peek at, it's about a 10-minute video on YouTube, and it is just crazy stunning. Go ahead.
So on that night, I also had my birthday celebration with her. And there is one YouTube video where she's kicking my birthday cake by accident. And it got millions of views because it was just such a fun, authentic experience.
Unbelievable. I want to go back to something because this struck me, and I think it would apply to anyone that is listening. You talked about all the books. You talked about negotiation. Now, we've got some people that are listening to this podcast that are great negotiators. We've got some people that are not very good negotiators. I think to your point before about AI, if you're a great negotiator, AI can help you get even better. If you're a bad negotiator and it's just something you don't like doing, suddenly you can get over some of those fears by having AI help you get better, help you, almost like going to the gym, work on those muscles so that you can role play, and now you can just talk into it and it'll talk back to you. So I just wanted to play a hypothetical here. Let's just say that I'd say that I don't know that I'm a good negotiator. I'm not a bad negotiator. It's not my expertise. I've gotten better at it since I started my speaking business 9 years ago, but it's not certainly what I've been trained to do, not my expertise yet. I believe now that I could go to any number of AI sources to help me get better at it. But what I've also come to learn, and this will be true for anything, I'm just saying negotiation here. What I've also come to learn is that the wrong prompts to say to AI could take you down the wrong path. And that's a lot of the nuance and the challenge for people as they're embracing and using this technology, is that they could go down the wrong path and it could slow them down or be too ambiguous. And so there's a learning curve there to not only use AI, but teach people how to use it most effectively. And of course, now we've got 1 million people out there on YouTube and on Substack and on all these places advertising for you. If you just sign up here, we could teach you all the right ways. I mean, it's a really crowded and confusing market. If someone's listening right now and they say, you know what, I want to improve my negotiation skills, and Charlotte has won awards. She is the queen of negotiation. She could do this kind of stuff. Where would I start? Like, let's just say right now, do I go to ChatGPT and say, how do you help me with this? Do I go to Claude? Do I go to Gemini? Do I go to what if this were you, where do you start? I think that's one of the challenges, and it doesn't have to be negotiation, is that it's so overwhelming.
Absolutely. I think if we have a variety, depends. So ChatGPT I go to for asking general questions, but if I have an actual Word document or an Excel table, I'm more inclined to submit it to Claude, just because I feel that the outcome, it can really analyze the data a lot better in terms of what I'm submitting. And then you can ask Claude or your AI to help you prepare the analysis. So what kind of analysis, whatever you need, if it's depending for which negotiation you're preparing for, but analyzing your spend, analyzing market trends that you're trying to discover. What kind of price have you been given? What should it cost? There is a saying, 80% is the preparation, 20% is the execution. So preparing with your AI can help you enormously. And I would not even say to stick with one AI. If you have the time, hear the other AI out, because it's always interesting to see what they come up with. And then also understanding predictions, anticipating certain behavior, likely outcomes of what negotiation you're doing. And you can also ask the AI on likely outcomes based on past deals that the AI then can find. And then understanding also your scenario testing. So asking the AI for models, like what are my what if options to find the best trade-offs before you negotiate. And that's all to do with the preparation. So also when you have contracts, when they come in, you can also ask your AI to help you analyze the contracts and doing a check of the final terms, any risks, missing clauses, or any non-compliance terms. And I would say that's my favorite tool, to upload the contract and then find the gaps. So AI can really give negotiators sharper data and faster insights and really better control, especially when it comes to these contracts that usually take a lot of time to read.
It'll read the fine print for you in a matter of seconds and help you with it.
Exactly.
There's so many different ways to go there. And I think for me, what I would say to anyone that's just getting started or hasn't started yet, just start to explore, just start to ask questions, just start to, and I like to watch a lot of YouTube videos and then you can tell quickly, this is good, this isn't good. And just see where you can learn. Go on.
But I actually had an interesting conversation with a friend recently from London, and she said, "Oh, AI is rubbish. I cannot ask AI anything." And then I asked her, "So what are you trying to ask?" And she said, "Oh, I wanted to find out more data on myself, what's out there, or on my husband, or home address." So this is really, you need to be cautious what you ask the AI, because AI will not give you any personal or private data. Mm-hmm. And that's something about AI: home addresses, ID numbers, financial details, health data. This is something that the AI is really strict about, just FYI. And also any unethical questions, like writing fake reference letters or hacking someone's account, or these are ways that the AI will definitely block it. So any of these vague, ambiguous prompts, that's what you need to avoid. You need to be more specific and feed the AI the data that it needs to be of value to you.
Got to do a little bit of the work, and you should be doing the work as well. All right, I want to get to my baseball themed questions, which I know you didn't have a lot of baseball growing up over in Europe, but that's okay. It's not really baseball. The first question is, what's the biggest home run you've hit? So professionally speaking, what's been your biggest moment? I don't know if it was getting on stage with Sophia. You've had a lot of big moments. What's been the big home run for you?
I think for me, my biggest home run was leading it's been my job, leading this cross-functional digital transformation initiative at my company, and not being afraid of technologies, but leveraging it and understanding what I've learned in my past and being of full value to the company. And that actually directly improved the whole revenue stream efficiency of my company. And it required stepping up, taking calculated risks, and rallying a team around a bold vision, but just like swinging for the fences at the perfect pitch. So I think this is something that I've really learned, and that was that big negotiation that brought me to the US, what I talked about.
Yeah, that's a big home run. And you sound like a baseball person, by the way, when you talk about swinging for the fences and a big pitch. So you're doing just fine with that. How about a swing and a miss, something you got wrong, and what did you learn from it along the way?
Maybe I spent too much time here in Boston with the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's a good thing too. A lot of tradition there.
Yes. So one time I pushed forward with a solution that seemed ideal, but ultimately didn't deliver the expected results. And the lesson: even the best prepared plans need feedback and course correction. And in baseball, a swing and a miss isn't a failure. It's an opportunity to change and to refine your technique and your timing. And that's what I've been doing. Always working on and seeing opportunities to become better and better.
I love that. And you have such an energy about you that it's hard to imagine any swing and miss being anything but a learning opportunity because you're so optimistic. On Charlotte's website, by the way, I think, and you've heard it in this podcast, sums you up, says, her charming and cheerful character is always a boost for your event. And maybe that's just a part of who you are and some of the secret sauce, which leads me to my last baseball theme question, small ball. What are the little things that add up to big results for you? It's a little bit of the secret to success. What are the little things that matter most?
Small ball in my world is about attention to detail and consistent execution. So checking the data, nurturing relationships, and making incremental improvements. So these small efforts, they compound over time and often set the stage then for the bigger wins. So I think this is also how we met, making sure nurturing relationships and being set up for something greater.
All right. I love all that. And I really love where this is about to go because I always ask my guests 4 final questions. They might be serious. They might not. And, we ask, as you know, I'm not giving away any secrets here. We as we book our guests, we have a survey and it enables us to find out a little bit more about you. And every now and then I've got some guests on where it's like, oh my gosh, these last 4 questions, I could ask 100 of them and still have more to go. That's you. You've done a million things and you've done a lot of really unique, very interesting things in your career. I guess when you grow up in the mountains in Europe, you are likely to do a lot of things. And so that's the case. So I'll start with this, lot of outdoors, a lot of activities, a lot of, mountains in Europe, Swiss mountain tour guide. You've done it all. Do you have a favorite sort of thrill seeking or favorite activity that you like to do if you can go anywhere in the world?
Oh, wow. If I can go anywhere in the world and nothing to do with mountains.
It could be mountains if you want, but maybe you've done that. Maybe you've been there, done that. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a Swiss mountaineer guide. I've definitely climbed the majority of the Swiss mountains. But something that I think mountain climbing is part of my journey. Mountain climbing and hiking. These are times that I can really switch off and remind myself who I used to be. But something else about me, ever since I left Switzerland, ever since I left college, I have run a half marathon in a new city every single year, sometimes even 2. But this is something about me. I always pick a new half marathon every year. And if it's from somewhere in China or Hong Kong to Europe to US, that is something about me every year. And even during my whole cancer treatment, I've been going through cancer treatment for 3 years. Even during chemo stage 3, I always found an opportunity to run marathons. And that is what reminds me who I used to be, a strong, energetic, mountaineering lady.
Well, and I would say still strong, right? And still mountains when need to be as well. So let's talk about that for my second question, and we'll go a little bit more serious. Diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer at the age of 35, yet I see the biggest smile on your face, and I hear and see all the energy that I saw the day that I met you back in Boston last summer, and that we see and hear on this podcast right now. How have you been able to stay so positive? I'm not sure that you have negative in you. We all have negative in us, of course. We all have our doubts. But what has this journey that has, I'm sure, at times been really, really difficult. No matter what kind of smile you put on your face and the energy you have, it is going to test you on the worst of days. How have you been able to turn this journey into such a positive?
Well, from a young age onwards, I always got to climb my Swiss mountains with my backpack. And I did spend all these hours reaching the summit. And this one is another summit that I had to climb. It's another mountain. The difference is that it was a mountain full of uncertainty, full of unknown, because I was the very first cancer case in my whole family history. And it was the second rarest cancer in medical literature. So what helped me was the strong bond with my family, with my partner during the whole chemo time, and being very busy. So I made sure that during chemo, as much as I could, I wrote my books, I worked full time. I even did 2 speaking gigs when I didn't have any hair and I put on a wig or a cap. But I had to make sure that I don't forget who is that girl behind it all. And of course, I had to, it was a lot, going through a lot of unknown and a very psychological, painful journey. But knowing that it's incredible how strong the body is, and it's incredible how quickly it adjusts to change. And once you have the diagnosis and you go through the whole chemo, and for me, it ended up being 3 years while going through my full-time career, 3 years of intense treatments, I still made sure that I was focused and I didn't break my routines and my habits. So waking up early, getting dressed, jumping on conference calls. I started a podcast, just making sure you keep busy and you compartmentalize as much as you can.
It's great advice for anyone going through anything, whether it be medical, mental, whatever it is. And so you've certainly done that, and I'm not surprised at all by it. Third question, as we round the bases, I'll go back to sports a little bit here. As if everything I've mentioned already isn't enough. And oh, by the way, Charlotte plays piano and saxophone. And this is a Renaissance woman here in climbing the mountains. You were the captain of Johnson & Johnson's Swiss soccer team, won the Euro Championship in 2017. That's not that long ago. I mean, that's what, 8 years ago? What type of soccer player were you? Give me a scouting report. And I don't know if you've been playing soccer or football, as you might have said over there, since a young age, or tell me a little bit more.
Wow, I'm so impressed that you found that piece of information about me. That is a deep love I have. And actually, I'm looking to join the soccer team here in Boston. But it has definitely been a passion of mine ever since I was a little girl, starting to play soccer at school. But then when I joined my very first job, which was at the Volkswagen Group, working for Volkswagen, Porsche, and all these lovely car companies, I joined their soccer team and actually joined the professional German soccer league. I was third Bundesliga, which was the only league you can join when you have a full-time job, because otherwise you just need to stop working and focus on your soccer career. So this was just by choice. And just because of the love I have for soccer, for this team sports, I have had a variety of different roles playing soccer, not as a goalie, but more either I started my career as defense and then moved forward from midfield then to the front line. And at Johnson & Johnson, exactly, I was at the front. Every time it's just such a liberation when you can play soccer in your lunch break and with your team, and focusing on that one goal and getting it into the goal. On the one ball and getting it into the goal. And for 45 minutes or an hour each lunch break, playing with my team. I was the only lady in my team. We had a men's team, but that was part of a big joy I had. And funny that you bring it up. I was thinking of rejoining here in Boston.
Good. Now you have to, right?
The love I have.
Everybody listening in Boston. Okay.
Absolutely.
I have a 2-part final question for my walk-off. The first one will be the work-related one, I guess. Take out that crystal ball. What is AI or whatever comes from it? What do things look like in, say, 10 years?
AI in 10 years. So I love that question. I think every day's life will be involved. AI will be present continuously and invisibly in every day's life. And you will encounter, for example, your home, your car, your digital tools. They will all communicate with each other. Like your fridge will order the groceries before you notice that they are low. Your phone will summarize your day and suggest when to recharge. I think the everyday's life, it will be a lot more fluent, and you'll be focusing on just other, I think more of these relationship skills, being with people, socializing, a lot of more creative aspects. So I think the AI cannot replace the whole social element, the humanoid element of speaking, of interaction, but AI will in the background help us to make our lives a lot more easier and more smoother in all aspects. I mean, healthcare, climate, space.
It's crazy. It's exciting. It challenges the mind just to envision it in ways that, I don't know, when I was growing up, you saw this stuff in cartoons and you knew it was not real. Cars flying around on the Jetsons and things like that. And now every day it looks like that's becoming a little bit more normal. You don't even think twice about, you hear the slight hum of an electric car driving by you. That's just normal now. You know, it's all crazy. It's all exciting. It's
or
fun.
Having a car driving without a driver.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been in that Waymo.
Which it was funny when I was in San Francisco for work last year. I took it and I FaceTimed my wife, and she was so nervous about it. I thought it was great. I loved it. I thought it was better than most human driving, and I loved it. I'm just sitting back having a conversation. I'm by myself, and it was incredible. But we all have different fears and different excitement levels.
Because I was sitting on this panel last week in Houston, and we were discussing what are the risks of AI. I know as much as we love to sit in that car or love to embrace AI, but what if something goes wrong?
Right.
Who takes accountability then? And that is the big ethical question that we're still trying to resolve.
And that to me is the scarier part, because we're moving so fast that let's make sure that everybody is protected as well. But the cat's out of the bag as we speak. The last part that I wanted to say was, since you speak 6 different languages, right? 6 languages fluently, German, English, French, the other 3 are what? Maybe
Spanish, Swedish, Chinese.
All right. How about in the 6 different languages, you, as we wrap it up, introduce yourself and encourage people to watch Rounding the Bases. Let's hear it in all 6 languages.
Okay, let's start with English. We can skip.
Yes, we know that one.
All right. Oh, let me do the intro as well. Let's do all the same.
Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm Charlotte. It's been such a great conversation. If you love smart stories, inspired guests, and real insights, make sure to watch Routing the Bases. Hallo zusammen, ich bin Charlotte. Es war ein tolles Gespräch. Wenn ihr spannende Geschichten und inspirierende Gäste sehen möchtet und echte Einblicke, schaut euch Routing the Bases an. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Charlotte. Si vous aimez les belles histoires, les invités inspirants et des échanges authentiques, regarde Routing the Bases. Hola a todos, soy Charlotte. Si os gustan las historias inspiradoras y las conversaciones real, no os perdéis Routing the Bases. Hey allihop, jag heter Charlotte. Om du gillar inspirerande berättelser och intressanta sämmet, titta på Rounding the Bases.
And last one.
Ni hao, jag xialo di Guan Kan Routing the Bases.
There we go. The first time we've ever had someone do 6 different languages on this show. If I have it right, the order was English, German, French, Spanish. What was the 5th one again? I forget. The last one was Chinese.
Swedish before.
Swedish, and then Chinese. All 6. So now we got Europe, we got Asia, we got most of the world covered with the incredible dialects and expertise of Charlotte. Charlotte, thank you so much for spending time on Rounding the Bases. This is good, and I know your energy, your knowledge is going to help so many people. And certainly check out Charlotte's website if you're interested in her speaking or more of her expertise or her many, many books. It's all right there, and the videos. Charlotte, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a lot of fun.
It's around the bases. Everybody knows Joe Goldberg.